All praise to Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, Hashem Rakakadash. Now, Job chapter 20, verse 5, it says that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment. You see, and these people are very good actors. Job 20, verse 27, it say the heaven shall reveal his iniquity, and the earth shall rise up against him. And that earth is pretty much the judges on the earth, who the earth was made for. These individuals is gonna possess the earth forever and ever too. But let's get what's going on with this so-called minstrel show. The first song, the first Christmas song that was made, and the dude that made it, and see the people that's out here enjoying this little day, they don't understand what they involved in. And a lot of these things the Lord is using to expose the wicked and reveal who the wicked is. Now let's go to Amos. Amos chapter 5, starting at verse 23. No, starting at verse 21, it say, I despise your feast days, and I will not smell in your solemn assemblies. Verse 23, take you away from me the noise of thy songs, for I will not hear the melody of thy vows. See, the Most High is not hearing these songs that these people are singing, and he ain't paying no attention to these things. Now let's get into the history, because I really don't want to go a long time with this. Let's get into the history of this one-horse open sleigh minstrel show. This first Christmas song that these dragons done pushed in the minds of the people, and they jingle belling all over the place, which was a reference to the runaway slave, you see, who would have bells on him where he couldn't run. See, he'll try to get away, but they'll put this yoke of iron on their neck so they couldn't get away. Now let's get, who had the yoke of iron on their neck? Who was the people that had this yoke of iron on their neck? Let's deal with that first before I go into the history. Who had the yoke of iron on their neck with the bells ringing? In history, you can't find nobody else now. Now I'm going to Deuteronomy 28. Before I go to Deuteronomy 28, let's see here. Who is he talking to? Deuteronomy 27, verse 1. It say, and Moses and the elders of Israel commanded the people, saying. So he was commanding Moses and the elders was commanding the people. And so this is some of the commandments. Verse 15, it say, it's Deuteronomy 28 and 15. It say, but it shall come to pass, if you will not listen to the voice of the Lord thy God, your God, to observe to do all his commandments, all these curses shall come upon you and overtake you. So here go one of the curses. Verse 48, Deuteronomy 28:48. Therefore you shall serve your enemies, which the Lord shall send against you, in hunger and thirst and nakedness and want of all things, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon your neck until he destroyed you. So this is why these bells was ringing, because it was a yoke of iron on their neck, placed there by the Most High. See, the Most High sent this yoke of iron to these Israelites. because you ain't gonna find nowhere in history that people got a yoke of iron on their neck with a song being sung. You see, sung all over the place, sung every year at deep around the winter solstice during the month of December, the 10th month, in Saturnalia, where the Romans would celebrate the god Saturn. They called it Saturnalia. They would get drunk, have drunk orgies, and they would give presents to each other. See, during this wicked day, the reminder that these dragons pulled with it was that they got a song mocking the God of Israel and his people with this jingle bell. See, this song wasn't just uh, a mistake or a so-called consequence or just happened by chance. This thing is deliberate, and it's also the Most High letting His people understand who they are in the frame of history. Now let's get this history of these dragons. Okay, this is the dragon that wrote the song. James Lord Pierpont. Now he was born in 1785. So he was born about 7 to 8 years um, into America being established. You see, because 1776 is when they won the Revolutionary War, starting their uh, so-called America, United States of America. So look at what this man was, how he was moving. Now his father was a pastor, but he was the pastor, a music director, or the music dude that was at the church, at this church. I guess he might have came pastor too after his father. Yeah, his father, Reverend John, was the pastor, but he was the music man. In 1945, he became, there it is. By 1945, he returned to New England where his father was the pastor. You see, and he started dealing with the music. Now, this man was composing all of the songs for the minstrel shows. The minstrel show, because look, it said he's occupation, composer, songwriter, arranger, organist. So he was writing all the songs for the minstrel shows, mocking the slaves and their descendants. See, when he came back to Boston, this is what he was doing. Then they moved down to Savannah, Georgia, and started a congregation down there with the real uh, Edom, the real dragon. Now they got his organ at Florida State University, holding it as a souvenir, like it's something precious. And then he got a little fame off that the song "Return Californian." Okay, and he was dealing with these minstrel shows. Let's get some more. See, look at him. 1853, he published a new minstrel composition in Boston called Kitty Crow. See, that Jim Crow was coming from this dragon. See, minstrel song. So this minstrel songwriter was writing songs, and he was mocking the slaves. Here it is, the original lyrics for the one horse open sleigh was 1857. So he came back in 45. He went to being with his daddy at the church, writing all these songs for the minstrel peoples. At the church, looked like they got a memorabilia for this. Look at that. In Georgia, they got a plaque for this dragon. saying that, oh, he wrote this Jingle Bell song that all the kids and the peoples in the world is singing and hearing, not knowing that they was marking the descendants of slaves with this song. So I ain't gonna go into a lot of it. Then he would come down to Florida and pass away in West Haven in 1893. So he didn't even make it to the 19th century. But his song made it to the 19th century. See, that's how these dragons roll. But I just want to jump into that real quick. A lot of people don't know that history. Jingle bell, jingle all the way. Let's see. Day or two, I thought I could take a ride. Soon Miss Fanny Bright was seated by my side. The horse lean and light. Misfortune seen his lot. He got into the drift bank. Okay, a gent was riding by in the one open sleigh. He laughed a swelling lie. Go while you're young. Take the girl tonight. Sing 40 at his speed. At crack, you'll take the lead. Well, you see, did he get into this war? Let me see this. He said, James, however, stayed in Savannah with his second wife, and at the beginning of the Civil War joined the Lamar Rangers. See, they won't give me that Lamar Rangers. What the heck? Which became part of the first cavalry of Confederacy. Recorded indeed that he served as a company clerk. He wrote music for the Confederacy when it seceded from the Union, including our battle flag, Strike for the South, and We Conquer or Die. His father also saw military service as a chaplain in the army. So you see how these dragons, they so-called Christians now, but they over here singing songs, mocking the slaves. They fighting for slavery to stay in existence. They're seeded from the Union, pretty much separated from the other states, and ready to fight and kill for for this slavery, and for them to keep making money off slavery. You see, this is what these dragons is doing. And you got a hard-headed Negro and an Hispanic and Native American that'll sit around and act like nothing matters, believe the biggest lie of all time, nothing matters, and deal with this crap. Now let's go back to the scriptures. See, I got to put some more heat on this fire. Let's get these scriptures real quick. See, let's go to Deuteronomy. This is a curse. We gonna deal with the curses first, because we understand why this all happening now. It said, verse 64, and the Lord shall scatter thee among all people from one end of the earth unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods. See, this is how they serving other gods, singing these songs, participating and believing in Christianity, which is a darn major trap by these Edomites who want to keep folks in slavery, which either thou father have known. See, when you came off that slave boat, you didn't know nothing about no Christianity. See, and mainly your fathers were the real peoples that God was dealing with, and they definitely didn't know nothing about no Christianity. They was obeying the laws of Moses and living in the culture of their people. Now let's get this is what these Negroes is doing. The Most High listening to them too. He said, because you serve not the Lord your God with joyfulness. See, they serving the so-called white man with joyfulness and with the gladness of heart. See, they around here with trees and gifts and singing and stuff. You can go on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram and see these Negroes and these Hispanics just sitting up here all enjoying this thing with gladness of heart for the abundance of all things. See, you ain't serving God for these things. You serving a so-called white man, and you having you a joyful time, and you glad as you want to be. See, under oppression. Let's get that in Isaiah. Under oppression, serving these dragons. Happy. See, happy as they want to be. Jehovah's Wickedness has been telling them it's abomination forever. So it ain't just Israel that's telling them. It say, "Woe to the rebellious children," says the Lord, "that take counsel but not of me, and that cover with a covering but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin." See, just rebellious Negro that walk down into Egypt and have not answered at my mouth, asked at my mouth to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. See, the shadow of Egypt is these so-called white peoples who got them, you Negroes in bondage, and they the shadow of these. They are almost the exact image of these them Hamites that had us in slavery, hard bondage. Verse 3, it says, "Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion." See, these Negroes trust in this crowd. Okay. And then look, another one. Verse 12. It say, "Wherefore thus says the Holy One of Israel, because you despise this word and trust in oppression." You niggas they having fun in oppression, man, and perverseness, and stay there wrong. They stand there wrong. We tell them it's abomination. If you tell them these people's been mocking you since slavery time with minstrel shows and all into Christianity. Christianity mocked the slaves. They say that they didn't know who the slaves was. You mocking these slaves. These people done been drug over here in chains, and you mistreating them, and you mocking them, and you got a whole church. You starting new churches. What is the church? What is the purpose of the church? It's to keep you fools blind and subjugated. And they was mocking you and still mocking you with this rap music and promoting the ignorant peoples of our nation, promoting the degradation and the destruction of our nation. They frolic that crap all around, but if you bring out some truth, they'll delete you and ban you and call you a terrorist and try to frame you and do all kind of wickedness to you. See, this is the mess that we dealing with. And see, our people don't want to hear smooth. They don't. Look at verse 10. With say to the seers, see not. See, they don't want us to see none of this stuff. They don't want us to see that they sitting around here celebrating these wicked holidays, which promote the so-called white man and worship him, and fake Santa Claus, just a lie. See, if you lie to your children, you hate them. Let me get that, because I really want to get that. But it say they don't want to hear right things. They want us to speak smooth things and prophesy smooth things. But it ain't about that, man. We gonna tell you the right thing. We gonna tell you the truth. Now look at this right here, man. This is what they doing with this Santa Claus crap. It say, "When he speak fair, believe him not, for there are 7 abominations in his heart." Okay, verse 28. That's what I want. It say, "A lying tongue hated those that are afflicted by it." See, you hate these children. You sitting up there lying to these kids and telling them these lies. That's a certified lie. Ain't no white innocent lie. And a flattering mouth worketh ruin. See, you trying to flatter these little kids and play with their little minds and say, "Oh, he gonna give you this and give you that," and you a nice little kid, and you got presents for you, and Santa Claus gonna come down the chimney. See, lying to these kids, and you hate these kids by lying to them. Bold-faced lies. You see, just even giving them the notion of this Santa Claus crap. But they following their enemy, their oppressor. Let me get that before I close out. That just kills Christmas in itself. These people's oppressing you. You in oppression, but you trust in them. It say, envy you not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways. See, he didn't tell you to choose this wicked holiday. That's an abomination. And it's in the Bible, man. He can see the future. He know what these dragons was gonna do. That's why he say in verse 2, he say, learn not the way of the heathen. Don't learn the ways of these heathen. Because these heathens is trying to get you to go off so they can keep you in captivity. Verse 3, it say, for the custom of the people are vain, for one cutteth a tree out of the forest, and with the work of the work of the hands of the workmen with the axe. They deck it with silver and gold, they fasten it with nails and hammers, and it moved not. A tree, a tree, a tree, a tree. Clear. And this thing is not new. Like Solomon said, nothing is new under the sun. They practicing some Babylonian crap. That's why he called this place Babylon the Great. Because they practice all the customs of Babylon. You see, they look at it as this is pretty much what's gonna get these Israelites to get in trouble. Because we gonna go back and get some of these pagan customs of these other nations that was worshiping these false gods, and we gonna get these Israelites to get into that. So now they God gonna keep punishing them and keep doing them dirty. You see, but that's the whole game. People don't understand what the church is set up for. The Christian church. See, the Christian church is set up so these Israelites can go off. The blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, descendants of slaves. See, that's what these jingle bells and all this go back to slavery. Everything go back to slavery because that's what it was all about. Christianity go back to slavery because that's what the trap was all about. It do everything in your power to set up these Israelites, to accuse these Israelites for being wicked just like everybody else. You see, but in these last days, he's opened up the book and he's showing us what's going on and putting his spirit on us to pretty much debunk all the bull crap that y'all got going on with these Edomites. And so I'm pretty much leave it there. All praises to Yahweh, Hashem Yahweh Shah, Hashem Kakit Dodge, honor to the elders pushing the truth, peace of the elect worldwide, the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, descendants of slaves, scattered around the globe. Our kingdom is at hand. Shalom.